Welcome back to another episode of Peaking into Success podcast. We're joined today by Jamie Thrasivoulou, and we've just checked, and that is how you say it. So, for anyone wondering, that is how you say his name. So, how are you today, Jamie?
Yeah, good man. Hot.
It is hot.
But yeah, we should have done like the interview in the park or something, shouldn't we? Really?
Got some ice cream
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So, of course, we're here to break down who you are as a person and kind of your journey and how you got to the stage you are now. So, for anyone who doesn't know you, which is hard to believe in Derby, explain yourself in a couple of words what you do.
Yeah, so I suppose I look at myself as a multidisciplinary artist with a sharp focus on, writing, really. So anything that involves writing. So, I've been writing lyrics from a young age, kind of jamming in bands from a young age, and that led to poems and sort of short stories, and I've done a film script and a couple of plays. So yeah, I'm kind of and I'm
multi-talented in the space.
And I'm trying to finish my first novel as well, but that's constantly has to go on the back burner because of things get in the way. More short form projects tend to get in the way of it,
Nice. So of course for you, did poetry give you the first platform into kind of the creative space, or was it something else?
It was actually my band I was in when I was younger, a band called In-Flight Program, and we were signed to a small record label called Signature Tune, who were like London based, and we had like a mini album and a 7-inch single released on that label. And did loads of tours around the UK.
Nice.
Did a lot of stuff. So that gave me sort of my first taste of kind of doing things creatively. And yeah, I was playing in bands from a young age, really. I always had a creative side, but I also had a really self-destructive side. Okay. So I was always getting in trouble. I had a bit of a harsh upbringing, and lots of kind of issues, really. And so I always had this side that was in, one side creative, but then the other side, go out and get myself in trouble. I suppose I've been creative for a long time, but then it was kind of the poetry that I suppose started getting more attention. Like the band didn't get so much attention. Don't get me wrong. We got a few reviews in, I think we were once like reviewed in Rock Sound and things like that back in the day. But we were fairly well known around Derby back in the day as a band. But yeah, I'd say my poetry has more of a following than what that music did, if you get what I mean. So it would definitely be the poetry that's kind of what I'm known for now.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I mean, the poetry, especially of course, particular Derby ones that we'll mention later, kind of springboarded your creative influence to, of course, playwriting. And of course, you got to commission a piece for Derby Theatre, didn't you? So kind of how did that process come from changing from the short form to kind of a longer form? Extra time was 2 hours, was it in total?
Yeah, it was actually an hour and a half. So it was the length of a football match.
Nice.
Which is kind of cool. So it was like more or less split into 2 halves as well of 45 minutes. Yeah, essentially how that came about was through Derby Creative Arts Network, who I'm sure you've heard of.
Yes.
And I was involved with them kind of when they first started going. And it was during conversations with those about sort of plans for the future.
Okay.
And it was weird, it all took place during COVID, the initial meetings.
Yeah.
So it was like, we want to do a play about Derby County to celebrate, the anniversary of winning the FA Cup. And we're hoping we can do it next year, but we don't know if we'll be able to do it next year because of COVID and all the restrictions, but let's prepare like we're going to do it anyway.
Yes.
So Derby Theatre were already thinking about doing a play. And because I was working with them essentially as part of the Creative Arts Network programme, they just said to me, Jamie, we'll kind of initial meetings.
Yeah.
So it was like, we want to do a play about Derby County to celebrate, the anniversary of winning the FA Cup. And we're hoping we can do it next year, but we don't know if we'll be able to do it next year because of COVID and all the restrictions, but let's prepare like we're going to do it anyway.
Yes.
So Derby Theatre were already thinking about doing a play. And because I was working with them essentially as part of the Creative Arts Network programme, they just said to me, Jamie, it will kind of make sense if you wrote the play about Derby. And I was like, right, okay. I've been involved in writing a one-man show that I took to Edinburgh before. I've kind of been involved in community writing plays.
Okay.
But writing a play for the main stage of Derby Theatre is a completely new thing. So, I accepted it because I like a challenge, but yeah, I did find it a challenge. Like, Derby Theatre were brilliant to work with. And they got me a mentor called Deb McAndrew, who's a great playwright as well. And without them, I wouldn't really have been able to get through it, if I'm being honest, because it was kind of a new experience.
Okay.
And obviously I was heavily, I was heavily invested emotionally because it's about Derby, the people of Derby, the community of Derby, the stories, the history of Derby County. So, yeah, it was tough, but we got it done in the end, and I think it was great because I think at first I tried to write it initially just like a straight up, say, 3-act play.
Right, okay.
But then I soon kind of realised it wasn't really what I wanted to write. And I just had to kind of say to him, look, I'm going to send you what I've done, but I don't like it.
The Bless is open every day from 12 p.m, serving a wide range of beers, ciders, real ales and spirits. Their kitchen also provides handmade pizzas, loaded nachos, chicken strips and ice cream from 5:50 to 10:30 Monday to Thursday and 12 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Friday, Saturday and Sunday. The pub quiz is very popular with anyone that enjoys a good beer and a bit of a laugh with their mates. Taking place every Wednesday at 9 p.m. There's loads of prizes to be won, including £50 drinks vouchers for the winners and a bottle of wine for the best team name. Everyone's a winner. They also have a spacious function room available to hire that can hold up to 100 people. Wow, that's a lot. Perfect for birthday parties, work events, weddings and wakes. The Bless really comes to life at the weekends with their branded nights of Stone Love and Fully Loaded, where the DJs play alternative, indie and rock music spanning the generations until the early hours of 2 a.m. There really is something for everyone in what is arguably Derby's best pub.
Yeah, so essentially, Sarah Brigham, who was great to work with, she's the creative director at Derby Theatre. And yeah, she kind of looked at what I'd done and said, look, there's some good stuff here that we can use, Jamie. She said, but I kind of feel like maybe we've tried to direct you down a certain route. Yeah. And she was kind of like, well, how about we sort of blend what you already do, so like the poetry stuff, blend that with like some acted scenes and some more like dance and movement kind of stuff and music. And I was like, yeah, that sounds really good. And obviously the stories of the fans, like the genuine testimonies of people that were around at that time, yeah, or whose family members were around at that time, and just general stories about the club. So yeah, it came together through, really, I suppose Derby Theatre like really trusting in me and kind of, really being accommodating to how I worked. Because although I enjoyed it, I'm not in a rush to write another play. Let's just say that.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I wouldn't ever write another play, but again, if I did work in theatre, it would have to be on my terms. It would have to be like my kind of vision about what I want to do. And now I've done it once, I've got a whole bigger idea as to how that whole world works.
100%. And I mean, with the show, I know a couple of the performers that perform with you are Derby based. So was everyone Derby based? Was that kind of your choice as well, or? No,
that wasn't the case. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I had nothing to do with who got casted.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I found myself lucky because the cast were brilliant and we all got on and we had like a really good time. I've got really fond memories of the whole thing. But yeah, I didn't actually play a part in the whole casting.
Okay.
Because, to be honest, I didn't really want to be either, because I had enough responsibility on my shoulders in terms of the writing of it. And also the fact that, they asked me to act in it as well, and that wasn't the original plan either.
Oh, okay.
So, no, that wasn't the original plan.
So did they kind of search for someone to play who you played, and then they were like, no, you need to play it? Or?
No, I just think they thought that there was that much of me contained within the writing.
Okay.
They thought that I could play one of the parts.
Okay, that's
and I think they were probably correct, because one of the parts, the character that I played in the acted scene, Stevie, if I look at him now, and I must have done this subconsciously, like he was a real wind-up merchant and kind of, you know, a bit of a Jack the Lad and always up for a laugh, kind of taking the rip out of everyone. And that aspect is definitely a part of my personality. That's what I'm like. So.
And then that's easy to act.
That's easy to act. Yeah, you're just kind of playing yourself in a sense. So yeah, obviously they kind of, they essentially turned me into an actor with like, in a 6-week rehearsals process. So,
would you go back to acting or not?
Yeah, man. I'd go back, but obviously, it's like everything, right? I'm kind of quite savvy in terms of the way I view the arts and the way I view the creative establishments and industries. And I know, to put it bluntly, that the arts is all bullshit. So I have enough of that to deal with the writing and the music and whatever else I do. So I don't think I want to add acting to that list. If you go, don't get me wrong, if someone approached me and says, listen, I'm working on a project, I think you'd be great for this part. If it was my thing, I'd be up for it. But I'm not actively out there looking for acting work, no.
I could see if they did a This Is England, another film, I could just see you in it. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I think I probably would get typecast as well as like one of them like young hoodlum types or whatever, But yeah, obviously I'm open to that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm not actively pursuing it because I've just got too much other stuff that's kind of sustaining me and keeping me satisfied creatively, really.
No, 100%. And moving on to that, of course, you're in a band, you're the lead singer in a band, so it's We Are Kez. Do you want to explain kind of the style you are, who you maybe relate to musically?
Yeah, man, I can say some stuff. I must know we are called Kez.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, our tag handle on Instagram is called We Are Kez, so I think it has confused a few people. But I suppose if there's another band called Kez out there that are really big that threaten to sue us for having the name Kez, we can always just revert to We Are Kez. So we've kind of already thought of the backup plan. Yeah, so essentially with Kez, what happened was it goes back to last year when Dubrek Studios opened.
Okay.
And I compared the evening. So like I introduced the bands that were on and just did a few poems in between bands and just basically kind of hosted the event. And a couple of lads came up to me, Taylor and Jack, and they were like, oh right, yeah man, we love your poetry, like have you ever done music? Like you ever thought about doing it to music? And I was like, oh man. I was like, do you know what? I was like, I've already been in bands. I was like, the last time I was in a band, we split up in 2013. I was like, and I kind of always vowed that I'd never be in a band again. Right. And they were like, oh, why is that? And I was like, well, being in a band's like being married to 3 or 4 people at the same time. So it's kind of not easy to coordinate things. And I kind of like where, I'm quite happy with where I'm at in terms of my own creative career because I'm pretty much in control of it. And I don't really have to rely on anyone, it's just me. It's like, can I do a gig? Yes, I can do a gig. Can I go and teach that workshop? Yes, I can. Whereas when it's a band, luckily we have WhatsApp these days, which makes things easier. So now I've got the WhatsApp group, but still, those kind of things, that was why I didn't really want to do a band again. But the way they were talking, they're a lot younger than me. They're both like 21, but they're really keen. They have really good musical knowledge.
Nice.
And they seem to just kind of have the same ideas about music that I do anyway. So I was like, let's go for it then. So let's jam. So essentially we started jamming and wrote some tunes, and then I enrolled my old drummer, Greg Rawson, who's out of he was in In-Flight Programme back in the day, and he's just a beast of a drummer. So yeah, he's come in and kind of taken the songs to a new level with us, and then we've been writing more material. So yeah, we've got a full album written, singles and stuff. So yeah, we're just kind of working in the background on, getting stuff ready for release. We'll probably drop some demos before the end of the year, just because it's kind of weird. We've done things in the reverse order to how a lot of people would do it.
You've been touring quite a bit. You've been doing a few gigs.
Well, we've sort of done gigs. And not really focus too much on release because we want to kind of do that properly. We've got ways that we can kind of attack that. It's sort of mad, innit? I suppose in this day and age, like everything's so oversaturated in terms of social media, the internet, artists, that you kind of got to take a step back sometimes and just try and form a plan. Because it's like, content can easily just like get no traction if you don't watch it. And
This is it with everything now, like, and how we spoke before with certain topics that we're going to discuss. Everyone may have heard similar or the same thing 1,000 times before.
Exactly.
So it's like, where do you go, and have you got a niche enough thing that's got a wide enough scope? Isn't
That's
it?
it,
That's
man.
the thing.
That's it. So yeah, we are going to drop. You know, we will be dropping some demos before the end of the year. Then it'll be proper singles and an album next year. That's kind of the plan.
Nice.
Couple of gigs, you know, coming up in Derby. So I think we're playing in Derby. Yeah, Derby September 23rd. We're doing Notts actually, August 27th, and then yeah, there's a few of us later in the year. But yeah, essentially we're kind of like, you know, it's a spoken word style vocal. But I'd say, you know, like I still like to write tunes, so it's got catchy choruses.
Nice.
I sing to the best of my ability in those choruses. I think I project more than I sing, but you know, I try and keep my voice sounding like me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not trying to like sound like the Arctic Monkeys like you might hear a lot of bands do when they sing because they're influenced by the Arctic Monkeys or whatever. Yeah, we've got like it's definitely like kind of a post-punk sound, you know.
Nice. And I mean, it's more original if you're not trying to imitate anyone, you're just trying to keep your own voice, so it's more original.
Yeah, that's the most important thing for what I do in the band.
Yeah.
Is me, you know, I want to sound like me. I don't want to sound like Jamie doing an American accent or Jamie trying to sound like he's from Manchester or something.
Yeah, fair enough.
So to me, like, I want that authentic, the Derby lad, like I want that in my vocal. Do you get what I mean? And I'm just quite lucky because the rest of the band, they're really tight. They're really, you know, they're really good musicians and they're good songwriters and yeah, we just get on well and do stuff. So yeah, I'm excited about that, man. I'm excited about
good.
That. Yeah.
And I mean, we've kind of done a whistle-stop tour of your career. What is the career high or the biggest achievement that you've had?
I mean, there's been. I suppose, right, you have to look at it like this, right? I'm just a lad from Allington, and when I started out being a creative, I've never really felt welcomed into creative circles because it's so middle to upper class and highbrow and bullshit, to be totally honest with you, that my expectations have always been very low.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, geez, if I can get anything in this scene, then I'm doing all right, you know what I mean? Because they don't like you. They just don't. You get people being nicey to you and that, but they don't really like you because they just think you're a scumbag, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and reputation.
Yeah, reputation and kind of, you know, the life that you might have lived and that, but, you know, people are judgmental and people are constantly trying to, you know, judge on the basis that people are perfect when no one's perfect. So I, you know, I don't really let stuff like that bother me. So it's kind of weird for me to really quantify things. I mean, for me, when my first book was published, that probably will still be my biggest career highlight because that was the moment, you know. Yeah. That was the moment when you get that book, it arrives, and it's the first time that you've got your name on your own published volume of work. It's not self-published. You know what I mean? It's not like just on Amazon or anything like that. Not that there's anything wrong with people who do that, but it's just like it is actually, you know, someone's invested in your talent, I suppose. So there's that, and then you know the Derby County stuff, and kind of, I think having the poem played at Wembley during the playoff final, even though you know we lost to Villa, which is a bit, you know, obviously a real sore point. That is hard not to, you know, kind of go, that's pretty cool, man. You know, I might not have played at Wembley, but my poem's going to play there. So.
There you go.
Yeah. And
I mean, there's still time, isn't there?
That's it.
There's time for it to get there.
That's it, man.
Is there a defining moment, or would you say that the book was the defining moment for you?
I don't know. Yeah, again, I think maybe the second book was my defining moment, or maybe the third book that's out next year will be the defining moment. I don't know. I don't know about that. Defining moments are kind of, you can have a lot of them through your career, right?
You can.
So yeah, the first book would be one, the second book would be one, the Derby County stuff would be one, like doing National Poetry Day on the BBC and, you know, being on documentaries on the BBC. Like, I think I'm quite lucky in terms of what I've achieved, but I don't really dwell on it too much, if you get what I mean.
You can't just striving for the
I'm always looking to like do something else.
That's nice.
Yeah, I don't want it, like, I think the easiest thing an artist can do is get comfortable. And I see artists do it. I've seen artists in all disciplines of art just get really comfortable. It's like they know they've reached a level that's working, so they just kind of stay at that level. Whereas I'm kind of a bit the opposite. Like if I get to a stage, like I think there's certain people might have an expectation of what I'm about to deliver in terms of poetry or whatever.
Okay.
So I look to then go against that and kind of try and develop something else.
Yeah.
Try and do a different kind of poetic style. Like the new book, for example, hasn't got one poem in it that rhymes. There's not one poem that rhymes, and it's not even it's not even a conscious thing. I just read through the manuscript before I sent it off to the publisher, and I was like, hang on, wow, none of the poems in this collection rhyme. They all have a rhythm, they all have like their own bits going on. Don't get me wrong, there'll be the odd line that rhymes and words that rhyme, but there's no solid rhyming poem.
No.
Which for me, that's like completely different. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's So I'm just kind of babbling on.
Oh no, it's okay.
I mean, you get me thinking, asking me questions. So, yeah.
No worries, thank you. But of course, you've mentioned, of course, the new book, and you've mentioned kind of the tour with Kez. What else is kind of happening end of 2023, start of 2024?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, man, I'm actually, you've probably noticed anyway, I think a lot of people have noticed, but I've been fairly quiet.
Yeah. Really,
over the last couple of years, I've not been doing that much, I've not been releasing that much, I've not been putting that much out there. Because I've been kind of just enjoying having a lot of time to write and to gather new material. And essentially, right, like at the moment, I'm not taking poetry bookings. So if someone wants to book me for a poetry gig, I won't be doing it.
Right.
Like unless they're offering me a silly amount of money that I can't turn down. Yeah, because we've all got to eat. Yeah. But my preference at the moment is not to do it.
Okay.
Because I want to wait for when my new book comes out. So I'm kind of really I'm working on all the writing and production of content and material, as opposed to really there's probably not much going to be coming out by me this year. Do you get what I mean? Like I said, there'll probably be a set of demos of Kaz, just so people can have something to listen to and dance along to when they want to come to the gigs and that. But yeah, other than that, I feel like in quite a nice position because I'm kind of sitting on stuff.
Nice. I mean, you're doing your workshops as well. You've been going around getting. You were in a prison last week. You've been here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, I go everywhere, man. It keeps the work interesting. It keeps the life interesting because you go into different places all the time, working with different people, engaging different people. Like, recently been in quite a few schools for the National Literacy Trust, who are like a great organisation. I do loads of work for them. And we did like a kind of like a whole thing called the Power of Voice. It was basically just encouraging the students in secondary schools to like talk about social issues.
Okay.
So anything that might be, whether it's like the class system, racism, homophobia, whatever, knife crime, whatever it might be, anything that's kind of political that they can get their teeth into and show some passion about. It was all to do with that, so that was really good to be involved in. And I've just been doing again. I mean, I've been working with the Literacy Trust for probably about 3 to 4 years now. So I've had a good working relationship with them, and I do a lot of their criminal justice work. So I go in the prisons. Essentially just holding writing workshops with prisoners who with an aim to help with literacy because it's kind of not well known, but the literacy levels in prison are like really low as well. Particularly among males. So there's always kind of like initiatives to kind of counteract that. So we just kind of get them writing. It can be poems, stories. If they want to know how to lay out a film script, I'll help them do that. Or they can write lyrics and bars, it's really good. So in the last week, I've been in Leeds prison and Humber prison.
Nice.
And it's been wicked, man. It's been really good. And I feel really, positive about doing those things because I have lived the experience of myself, when in my younger years, from getting in trouble and stuff. And I think it's just nice to be able to kind of give something back.
It's a positive
spin. Everyone makes mistakes, man.
100%.
And I know there are certain crimes that probably are unforgivable in a lot of people's eyes. But you don't really tend to get those kind of crimes in your workshops. So you just kind of get people who are, they've made a mistake and they're kind of looking to turn their life around. And I think everybody deserves to have a chance to do that.
100%. They're there and there's not a lot for them to actually do. So why don't they better themselves? So when they actually come out, they can actually have a career or do something creative and better themselves instead of just sitting there rotting.
Exactly, man. It's quite complex, the reasons why people could be in prison, and society has a tendency to dehumanise people for being in prison. But what they fail to realise is that sometimes it is a luck-based system. I know people who got away with stuff because their dad was a copper or whatever, and I know they did, and they know they did, and everybody knows they did. There's no point bullshitting about this kind of stuff.
No.
Some people make mistakes and get caught. Some people make mistakes, get caught, and get away with it. There's no like same rules for everyone. It just doesn't work like that.
No.
So I think giving people a chance to better themselves is a good thing. Some of them have got like some serious traumas, man. Like real serious issues in their childhood that's like led them onto a life of just kind of fucking up a little bit. It doesn't mean they're bad people inside.
This is it. No one knows anyone fully, do they?
No.
So you can't prejudge.
No, that's it. So I think I like to do my bit.
No.
You know what I mean? Like I know that when I do those sessions in prisons, the people who take part are buzzing and they enjoy it and they really, really like it. So that to me is me doing a good thing.
That's wicked. And it should be inspirational for others that are in creative fields to try and give to others, whether that be people less fortunate.
Especially if you've got expertise in something. If you've got a lived experience that they can relate to, then why not share that experience?
Exactly.
And that could be in anything. I think lived experience is really important in life.
Nice.
They should kind of have the right poets for the right jobs, so to speak. So if you've got a poet with a particular interest in the environment or whatever, it would make more sense to have that poet leading the workshops on environmental poetry, things like that.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think everyone has their specialist areas is kind of what I'm saying, and I think it's good if artists can break that down and then maybe see where they can be handy and where they can serve communities.
Exactly. And you kind of explained about the kind of advice and your help to kind of other people during your workshops, but what's one piece of advice that you'd give to your younger self?
To my younger self, I probably wouldn't have listened, so I don't think it would have mattered. Like what? I'll be honest with you, man. I'm not one of them people who looks back and goes, "Oh man, I really, really regret that." Obviously, look, like everyone, I've done some terrible things in my life. I've had some terrible things happen to me in my life. I've been involved in some terrible things. I've witnessed terrible things, whatever. But you know what? All of that experience makes me who I am today.
Yeah.
And who I am today, I can stand and say, yeah, I'm happy with where I'm going as a person. Do you know what I mean? It's taken a long time, actually. It's taken many years. I'm 39 now, so it's probably about time I was getting used to just being chilled with myself, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't tend to look back at life and go, oh yeah, because although I did make mistakes, I kind of feel like I'm a person who doesn't learn without the mistakes.
Yeah.
Like I need to learn harshly. I'm just one of them people. I think I'm a bit too kind of. I've got too much of a zest and I don't know, a bit of a daring nature for life.
Nice.
So it's like if someone says touch that, don't touch that. You might get a hot. I still have to put my finger a little bit near it. Just
it's on the red button.
Yeah, that's it. So I think. I think it was inevitable. I was always maybe going to have to go through that development as a human being. So I think I just look at it now and just think, well, it's made you, hasn't it, man?
There we go.
But if I was advising younger people, I'd probably say don't do what I did when I was younger.
So we'll gloss over if you do anything differently because you said that you wouldn't. So we can bypass that and go to quick fire questions. So you don't really know what the contents of this is going to be, or just they're all something that you should be able to think of something off the top of your head and it should go. So go-to karaoke song. So if you're not performing with us, what are you performing?
Hey, you got me good here, man. You got me good. So recent classics. In fact, in this very room where we are now,
Yeah.
The first time I ever did it on karaoke must have been like 10, 15 years ago. Yeah. And it was here, and it was at the band Lost the Load, who were from Derby.
Lost the Load.
Yeah, they did their Christmas gig, and then they had a Christmas party here.
Okay.
And I got up and did Ace of Base, All That She Wants is Another Baby. Yeah, she's gone tomorrow. Yeah, so that seems to be, and I did it. I actually did it earlier this year as well, so I think it's maybe becoming a thing. So Ace of Base. But also, my mate, it was his birthday, and he got me up the other week, and we did Let's Talk About Sex, which I didn't realise how many words were in the song until we did it on the karaoke. It was pretty terrible. But I can riff with those. Those. Yeah. So let's go for them. Let's put it out there, man. Yeah.
So say for example, we've got a chef that comes in, and he can make you one meal and give you one drink to accompany it. What are you picking?
Wow, put me on the spot, why don't you? Right, for a drink, let's go for like a proper nice homemade lemonade.
Okay, nice.
Because the guy's a chef, yeah, so I'm gonna assume that he can do everything. You know, we've got some 100%. Proper. And then food-wise, man, what do you go for? Especially, I eat particularly pretty healthy these days. But so what am I going for? Am I going for like a junky thing or a?
Well, it's a one-off, isn't it? So
it's a one-off. Yeah, man, I'm going to have to get the steak out, mate. He's going to have to get the steak out. Steak with all the trimmings. Steak with mushrooms, tomatoes, grilled tomatoes, onion rings, and some nice kind of chips, man. That'll do.
Any sauce on top?
Yeah, peppercorn.
Sweet.
Original sauce, original, mate. Keep it real. Yeah, I'd have to. Just because you're telling me we're having a professional chef. Yeah. So it's going to be good, isn't it? So we'll go for that.
Wicked. And then the follow-up to that is, you can choose one person to come and sit and eat it with you. Who are you picking?
Oh, dead or alive?
Your choice.
My choice. Go on then. I'll go for Marky Smith out of the four.
Nice.
Because Marky Smith, it would just probably be free. I mean, I don't think he ever ate anyway. He just drank, I think. But it'd be interesting to see what he'd have to say about the steak. Even if the steak was amazing, I'm pretty sure he'd have something to criticise.
There you go. And I mean, he can chuck some gin in his homemade lemonade.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Well, he wouldn't approve of the homemade lemonade. That's for sure.
So of course we know that you did the We Are Derby poem, and of course you made a show all about Derby. What's your prediction for the season 4 Derby now? We've had 2 games, so.
Yeah, I don't tend to get swept up in all the hype.
Okay.
There's a lot going on social media at the minute, but by the way, I think everybody's entitled to have their opinion on. So I don't tend to criticise what people are doing and saying. Like, that's completely up to them. Football's like the most emotional thing in the world, and it's horrible being a Derby fan. It always has been. It kind of always will be. So. I don't know, man. It's I don't like to curse things. So I've never been one of them people that's like, oh yeah, we're definitely going to get promoted this season. I've never done it. But I do believe that when we find our form, which I think we will, it's a bit concerning some of the comments that came out the other night about, because I thought we had a settled squad, but
yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know what to read. Maybe he was saying that to get a reaction out of players. I don't know. You don't know about man management and how people choose to try and, what they think might work. But I'll be honest. I still think we'll be there or thereabouts.
Wicked.
I'm not sure we're going to be finishing top 2. I don't think Derby like to do it that easy.
No, it's the hard way.
Yeah, I'd imagine sneaking the playoffs on the last day, 6th place. Actually do it this year instead of losing out last year. Probably something like it won't be easy. Whatever happens, if we go up, it won't be easy. You know that because it's Derby. And we're just typical. We're that team that could be, the maximum points ahead at Christmas and still lose every game and just win it by 1 point or something.
That's happened many times.
That's just Derby, isn't it? So I think you just kind of get used to being a Derby fan, and I think for me, I just find it hard to really get that infuriated at the minute. Because we have got
You're
a
just
club.
used to it.
Yeah, we've got a club, man.
Yeah.
So I think I look back to that time period, and I was, I think everyone was losing a lot of sleep over it. And people might not think you do, but it's part of your identity, man. It's part of what you do. For me, it's kind of weird. Like my life, right, has become so focused on my career, like in terms of what I do. So even everything I enjoy might still be very close to my career. So reading something, writing something, like listening to music, there's still a part of you that's always at work. You know, because when you read as a writer, you don't read like a normal reader. You're reading and trying to steal good ideas. And I see, you know, the techniques that other writers are using or whatever. And the same with music or whatever. But with football, man, that's the one thing where I can put that on. And I'm in that world. You know what I mean? I'm in that world, man. It's my escape. So kind of without that, I'd have been really lost. So now I just see it as like it's just part of the escape, man. Losing and, you know, Derby being rubbish, it's just part of the escape. That's all it is.
There you go. Yeah. Hopefully it'll change around, but we'll see. And then kind of to sum up the questions now is, of course, you're Derby born and bred. So someone comes in on the train, drops off to you and says, take me to your gem of Derby, wherever you're taking them, one place you can take them.
You know what, man? I'm going to go, maybe, you know, I could easily choose pubs, and probably people would expect that of me as well. Or I could go for some kind of like really historical landmark, and again, people would probably expect that of me as well. I could go to Pride Park Stadium, people would expect that of me as well. But do you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say Darley Park.
Nice.
I'd take them to Darley Park and walk around Darley Park.
Are you going around to the playing fields?
Yeah, man, we're going all the way round. We're going all the way round. We're doing the proper walk. We're not wimping out of it, you know, we're not doing like a half a walk. We're gonna go and, you know, see the whole of Darley Park.
Nice.
And then you can always get a drink later, can't you?
Exactly.
Like that Paper Mill place or the rugby club or something.
Oh, exactly. There's bars around it.
Yeah, so that's it.
Sweet. Thank you for coming on.
No worries.
Where can people find you if they don't know?
If you just literally just Google me, because I'm the only person called Jamie Thrasivoulou in the world, which is
really?
There are no other Jamie Thrasivoulous. I've got a cousin called Jason who lives in London, so that's like the closest to Jamie Thrasivoulou. So it's quite easy to find me. My website's actually currently, I've taken down the old one and I'm just working. I've got a new one being worked on, so that'll be up in the meantime. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Thrasivoulou Jamie, Twitter or X as it's now called at JMFras, and the same on Facebook. So yeah, I'm around, and if people want to like talk to me about art stuff or ask for any advice, I'm pretty open. Nice. So yeah, I'll always kind of share my knowledge with people if people ever want to like talk to me about that kind of stuff. I get it quite a lot on social media, and as long as I get the message, I do get back to it. So,
wicked. Well, cool. Thank you for coming on.
No worries, man.
Want to know what's happening within Derby's black community? Or perhaps you have a story of your own to share? Then look no further than Majatu, your one-stop source for local African and Caribbean news. With our digital news platform and quarterly print magazine, keep up to date on all of the latest in arts, entertainment, food, sports and more. Find us online at mojatu.com.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Peaking to Success podcast. If you enjoyed, please make sure you follow us on Spotify as well as Instagram, where you can see all the updates of who is coming up, as well as who has already been on the podcast, as well as Twitter, where there is information and interaction from me on there as well. Thank you.